And welcome back, everybody, to the Paws preview. Kevin, I don't know why you're clapping. We're not exactly going into this game on a hot streak. I know why you're clapping, but we'll get to that.
There's many reasons, but yes.
FIU football is heading to Murfreesboro, Tennessee, to take on the Blue Raiders, the 1-7 Blue Raiders, might I add. So a lot to be excited there with a potential W for FIU to get out of this losing streak. But Kevin, you mentioned you wanted to do this, so let's do this, man. Let's get philosophical here. Let's let's go back to college, take a philosophy 101 course.
But, I'm excited. I'm going to be there. So it's funny. I end up visiting 100 miles of hate sites are going to visit both.
That's true.
This year. And hopefully end up visiting an MLS stadium.
So
got one more after this. But yeah, I'm excited. Tough one. Don't really want to dive too much into it. It's been a while since that game happened. Feels like a long time at least. Panthers lost 28-21. 8 penalties. Can't have that happen. Willie, obviously mentioned that and noticed all the self-inflicted stuff really hurt FIU. And Shamari Lawrence decided to have a revenge game. He did not win Conference USA Offensive Player of the Week.
Who did?
I don't know. I think Liberty running back.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll talk about it, but they dropped almost 60 on Delaware. But yeah, man. No, really excited. Really excited for this one. It's a good test on the road. We'll talk about the ties that FIU has to Middle Tennessee. And for Willie, this is his third rivalry game of the year, is at least what he considers. He considers FAU, Western Kentucky, and Middle Tennessee as rivals. So FIU.
Yeah, but don't get yourself.
FIU has been known to snap streaks this year.
Yes.
Hopefully trying to snap another one.
When was the last time they won a game at Floyd?
2011.
What the hell were you in 2011?
6 years old. How old were you?
I was 11. I was.
You weren't even in middle school.
No, I don't even think I had a concept of what FIU. I don't even think I had a concept of what college was when I was 11. So that's how long it's been. But you said it. This is the year, if not anything, the year of breaking streaks for the Panthers, which is A-okay with me because one of them was the Shula Bowl. Now, I digress, Kevin. Let's get philosophical here. Bowl games. We all want to be in one. FIU still has an opportunity to be in one. But realistically here, do you see the Panthers running the table and getting 3 wins out of their next 4 games, 2 of which are against 2 of the top dogs in CUSA, Liberty and Jack State, though you do get both of them at home?
Yeah, so let's start with this. This is year 1. I think people forget and people think that Willie's been here for a couple of years. This is year 1. It's a young team. It's been a while, like people don't understand, like a lot of the self-inflicted stuff happens because you're a young team. Now, albeit we're in game number 8 of the season, going into game number 8, week 11, week 12. I think this is week 11.
It's week 11.
Yeah, like by this point you should be, pretty well-oiled machine. You should be moving pretty well on this stuff, but I think expectations were just set a little too high, and that plays into us also setting them a little bit too high. I had this.
Yeah, sorry guys.
I had this team going 7-5. Clearly, it can still happen. That can happen.
What did Johnny say? What was Johnny's prediction?
Johnny said 7-5 too.
Oh, he did too.
A lot of people said 7-5. Not many people had FIU losing to Missouri State and Delaware. Same thing goes with Kennesaw State. So at the end
Delaware.
Of the day,
I'm not mad at them for thinking we'd beat Delaware. I'm just going to say that, even though we do, have a more talented roster. I'm just saying that. Missouri State, though, and Kennesaw to an extent, I do feel, yeah.
Hey, Kennesaw may go to the title game,
which is crazy. Anyway, continue, Kevin. I interrupted you there.
Yeah, you did. You do that a lot, but it's okay. I just think I think people need to realize, like, this was year 1. Like, let's see what goes happen. Like, obviously, if you make a bowl game, you make a bowl game. Still very much possible. Margin for error is low. It is little, but there is margin for error. One more loss. You hope that is not Middle Tennessee. You hope that is not giving Sam Houston win number 1 of the season and their last win of the season. You hope that is not bleeping the bed for homecoming. You hope that is not getting killed by Jack State at home on national TV. So
Cam Cook.
Your hope is obviously that you win these next two, lose to Jack State, and go on the road and clinch bowl eligibility at Sam Houston, which would be huge. You finish 500, keeps the streak alive of 500 or more for Willie. FIU goes 500 for the first time since 2019, because obviously they won 6-7, but 6-6 in the regular season. And I mean, if you run the table and you win every single game, you're looking at a 7-5 season, first over
like we predicted.
Yeah, since 2018. So
yeah,
again, in reality, like whatever happens, happens. I think at this point, it's 4 games left. I wouldn't be shocked if we see redshirt freshmen playing. Amari Isaac, Kenny Williams, 2 wide receivers. They could probably use them right now. You could maybe see Sean Burke if we have tight end injuries. Justin Cayem's been dealing with the injury, obviously.
Yeah.
Kicking battle is going to have to be decided. It's a battle every week. We're still seeing a lot of young players, but we're at a point in the season where I don't say hope is lost. It's still there, clearly. You have hope up until the last game of the season if you are at 5 wins or less. But there's a good chance that is not the case going into Sam Houston. So I think we say that to prepare fans for what could be, the eventual 4-8 or the 5-7. And in reality, Jake, I'll be pretty happy with 5-7. Like as sad as that sounds, 5-7 compared to
with an FAU win. That's the sweetener in the pot.
That is the sweetener. With an FAU win, with the win over Western Kentucky on the road, you snap that streak, assuming you beat Middle Tennessee, win there for the first time since 2011. Like, you got to think about it. Like, it's tough to say 5-7, especially after the way they started the season, going up to Penn State at the time, playing the number 2 team in the country, having a good game, going back, playing FAU, winning the Shula Bowl, beating Western Kentucky. Unfortunately, just you also ask yourself, like, you look at the last staff. Let's be honest, Jake. How many games would that to have staff has won? How many of those games would they have won?
I don't know. They might not have even won against Bethune.
Exactly. So the fact that we're at this point in the season where they have a chance to match the win marker, it's cool. But obviously, you hope that we're talking. Where are we staying at a hotel in hopefully somewhere close to Miami?
Oh, for like a bowl game. You mean like the Cure Bowl? Again, maybe Cure Bowl, Gasparilla Bowl, Boca Raton. Those are all nice.
I would not. I say this. I would be happy with any bowl game, but preferably not the Boca Raton Bowl.
Okay, well, it would be the.
I would like to watch a bowl game that is a little further out from South Florida.
So the Hawaii Bowl, you mean?
Let's not get too crazy. Liberty Bowl, Gasparilla. New Orleans Bowl would be probably the best one.
Oh,
playing at the New Orleans
Superdome. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was just there earlier this
year.
I
want to get your thoughts. What do you think about what I said? I mean, this is kind of why I brought it up to you. Like, what are we thinking? Like, too high of expectations were set. Do we think there's still a chance? Obviously, I definitely spoil the prediction time stuff, but I think maybe a lot of pressure was put on this team going into the season, especially. But I think that's fair too, right? Because you look at CUSA and it's like, you never know.
Mm-hmm. So you never know.
That's why you kind of put those expectations. And I mean, honestly, dude, we were talking about one point like CUSA championship game. So
yeah, I never felt that. Let me clear my name. I never felt that even after the Western Kentucky.
You must have felt that a little bit.
There was a slight tingle. Pause.
Exactly.
I was not on board like you were, or Johnny. Like, my God, Johnny was all in on that. But I'll just say this: were the expectations high? Yes, for one reason. Willie did something that McIntyre never did, that Bush Davis did like maybe once, which was beat Florida Atlantic. So yeah, it was a hype train from the get-go after they beat FAU. It's not a hype train. It was a hype bright line shuttle. How quickly the fans were all in on Willie Simmons and the team, and for good reason. Because when they win, it's they kick ass. When FIU wins, they kick ass in unexpected circumstances against Florida Atlantic and against Western Kentucky on the road. When they lose, it's tough, and they've had some terrible losses. I'll say this: if we beat Missouri State last week, we're for sure getting into a bowl game. I feel extremely confident about that. Because if we can beat Missouri State, we can definitely beat Middle Tennessee. We can definitely beat Sam Houston to close out the season. And obviously the Liberty and Jack State games would be toss-ups. But it's just it hasn't gone that way. Because I feel like I can't remember the last time FIU has had a season where you didn't have at least one frustrating loss, which the team was better than the team that actually won the game. That was how I feel against Missouri State. I know that's how you feel too about the game. So it's just the way these things goes. I still have hope though that they can get to the 6-win mark. They're going to need a lot to go their right. They're going to need a lot to go their way. Especially, well, first off, you have to beat Middle Tennessee, and they're 1-7, but nothing's a given in Conference USA. It's that close. I mean, Middle Tennessee, how many one-score losses do they have? Like 4 or 5. So we have a long road to get to even ponder 6 wins, because we can start to feel negative if we lose this game and then lose to Liberty when we're actually out of it by then. But we're not there yet. So I think we'll leave it at that. And my brain already hurts, so that's enough.
No, you're not making me cry. It's just very late.
Okay, yeah, well, I understand. I thought you were crying because you got the heads up that you're going to be heading to Murfreesboro, getting some hot chicken this time, some Nashville hot chicken.
I got the barbecue last time, though. I'm not too.
Jake Bolden gave you some recommendations, though.
He did. I tried to look up the spot. I couldn't find it. What did he say? It was Toots.
Toots, I want to say. Well, he said, I think actually it's Toots in Nashville, because I guess they had one on campus, but that got the axe. I want to say. Spoiler alert, that's our guest, Jake Bolton of the Blue Raider podcast.
Toots Broad Street. Oh, I found it.
There you go.
Damn,
all right, let's just talk about this loss.
This looks interesting.
This is the most frustrating loss of the season, Kevin Barnon. The others were blowouts. This one we should have won. Plain and simple. Penalties, I hate them. Shamari Lawrence, Jesus. And Plaster was unfortunately fired up for that game. And I had to suffer there in a Ricky Bobby outfit, watching them lose a game that we both know they should have won.
Yeah, I kind of noted it at the start. Thought we weren't going to bring this back up too much, but it's okay. 8 penalties. A lot of them were inflicted offensively. Clearly had the unsportsmanlike one. And yeah, it was a tough night. Couldn't get the run game going too much. Willie kind of noted that in the press conference today. We're recording this on Tuesday. Drops, I think, Friday or Thursday?
First day of action, might I add. So, that's something to watch in the meantime.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're missing that out, especially a big game against Akron and UMass.
A big game. Huge game.
Huge. Yeah, 100%. Thank God we're not the ones doing that anymore. Yeah, no, it was just a tough one. Tough one to swallow. Just didn't think things were clicking, especially in that second half. Keywan goes down again. He's 100% healthy. He's going to start against Middle Tennessee. That's another thing. We need to clear this up. There's no quarterback controversy. As much as we may think there was one, as much as the Willie Simmons postgame comments really brought that question up, there's no controversy. Keywan's the starter. He's going to be the starter. So that's just.
But Joe Brzezinski brings more to the passing game?
I feel like.
Was it taken out of context or something?
No, I just think he was frustrated and he just kind of blurted that out a little bit. But yeah, tough one. Got to move on. FIU missed Zion Chapman big time. I think he's back. I got to remember what Willie said. I think he's back this week. That'll be huge. So, yeah. And it's against the Middle Tennessee team that doesn't run the ball too well. Although their running back's actually pretty decent. Middlebrook. So it's interesting. But I think the big name, we'll talk a little bit more about it in a bit. But, yeah, tough one. Got to move on. Good opportunity on the road. I know it's coach speak, but I think it's the best way to say it because it's been just over a week now. Tomorrow marks a week since the game, so I'm not too worried about continuing to harp on it. But yeah, it was a tough one, and I think one of the big things too is just like the amount of how do I say this? The penalties, obviously. But the amount of yardage that they allowed Jacob Clark to run.
Jacob Clark. Yes! He's not a dual threat quarterback. He's not. He just looks like one.
He's not, but Willie did note that he looks a little bit faster than people think. And on top of that, he won in the game. That last drive, he literally ran it in for the first down himself. So, yeah.
Kyle McNeil, keep your hands on the football, not on, another player's helmet. That pissed me off. That pissed me off so bad when it happened. I know it did to you too. That infuriated me. And JoJo Stone, go off, King. He was good though. JoJo Stone. Okay then. I guess there's not too much to harp on there.
JoJo, shout out to him. He had a nice game.
Jean-Pierre too. They got him going on the offense a couple times.
Good.
Final thoughts?
I'll be curious. JoJo was kind of talking about this too. He was like, just feels like the game's slowing down a little bit more for him. Which shout out to Pac. Great question. So, yeah, I like JoJo. I think he's a nice little piece. He's only a redshirt freshman too. People forget about that. So, I think he'll contribute against.
Final thoughts. Are you off the Noah Grant hype train?
Soon, if he does what he did last time. Yeah, I think we should all be.
You mean the last couple times?
Yes, that too.
Okay, let's just move on like decent people. Because I'll say this, Kevin, we're frustrated, but imagine how Jake Bolden feels right now because he has to cover the 1-7 Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders. They already had an ass season last year. Now they might not even hit their 3-9 win total from last season. They still got to play.
They play San Houston.
But they take on New Mexico State, which is no gimme. I think they take on Delaware. I want to say so.
They already played Delaware. I think it's Sam Houston, Middle Tennessee,
FIU, wet 100 miles of hate, Western Kentucky, Sam Houston, and New Mexico State. So, why are we previewing there? All right, let's just get back on track here. It sucks the season they're having because it feels like there is still this team isn't completely devoid of talent like I would say Sam Houston is right now. They got players. They got Vadiato. Vadiato might be one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever walk at Floyd Stadium. That's how crazy. That's how great a passer he's been for Middle Tennessee in his 5th year now. But it's not clicking there. And how much, I'll ask you how much of it is Derek Mason's fault?
Well, I'll start with this. Well, I got to check. Actually, I'll just
how much? I got you there.
Yeah, very funny. I want to check sacks against Middle Tennessee.
He's
22 sacks. They've allowed 22 sacks, which is 3rd in Conference USA. By the way, FIU's only allowed 16, which is 7th, which is pretty good.
Oh yeah.
And then on the other hand, you look at the passing game, like it's still 4th. Middle Tennessee, they always seem to have that one guy, but when your running back is leading your when you're here we go. Yeah, when you don't have a really clear number 1 wide receiver, Najee Cox, who I know Jake mentioned in the thing, 424 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns. He's actually tied for 1st in CUSA in touchdown receptions. But I guess part of it's on Derek Mason, just not getting the right pieces in place for him. But then on the other hand, their defense has been like that. Like I almost did the 6-7 thing, but yes, it has not been great. It's just been inconsistency from Middle Tennessee. It kind of feels like what FIU did last year. A lot of one-score losses that they just weren't able to come through. And Jake noted this in the interview. They found ways to lose, like new ways to lose that they found a new game. Like Jacksonville State.
Creative ways.
And we've spoken about this. They're not a clutch team. They're not a team that can potentially hold on to a lead.
They are the opposite. Whatever the opposite of clutch is, you'll find a logo of Middle Tennessee there. I guess the only team less clutch than them is Nevada, which they won in a 14-13 sweat fest. And then every other game, 1-score loss, 1-score loss, 1-score loss. And I get it.
Did they lose by 1 score to Wisconsin?
Hell no. They got blown out 42-10. They also lost by double digits to Marshall. But Kennesaw State, Missouri State, Delaware, and Jacksonville State 1-score losses. This is
a big game for Middle Tennessee, by the way. This is their salute to service game. And I think they were mentioning that two of the old teams are coming back to campus. They're undefeated teams. I got to look up the dates, but they mentioned this in the press conference. So, not saying the Stars will be at Murfreesboro, but definitely will be a bigger game. And this is the salute to service game, which FIU played in the last time and got smoked 40-6,
something like that. And I get it, Kevin. Beating FCS teams, it's not for everybody. We can do it. Middle Tennessee, not so much. So Austin P they nice. That team's nice in FCS, but beating FCS teams not for everybody.
So is Monmouth.
That that happened when the dinosaurs were still roaming the earth, Kevin. Come on now.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much all we need to say. They're a 1-17. They don't do much right. They don't have the clutch gene in a way that maybe
they are a solid pass defense. I think they're third in the conference in pass defense or fourth, and they're fifth in rush defense. So they're a solid defense. It's just they give up a lot of yardage, a lot of points. So.
They didn't give up many yards to. I mean, Cam Cook had a rough game against them.
Yeah, he did. So if we get that Jack State, hopefully we get that Jack State, but hopefully we don't get that MTSU defense, which will not be fun.
They don't give up a whole lot of points defensively. 28 to Delaware, not that bad. 31, and then 24. Not too shabby. Not too shabby against two of the top offenses in Conference USA. It's just where's the money going? They apparently saved so much money by getting rid of alternate jerseys. I don't see it paying off this season. I got to say.
They got a new facility. What are you talking about?
Well, yeah, that I'm talking about on-field success.
It also looks awesome. It looks awesome.
I saw the blueprints.
And I'm very excited to see it in person. They're also getting a new arena too. Or like a renovated arena.
New basketball arena?
Like a new renovation to the arena.
Oh, okay. I saw Sam Houston did some.
Which the OBCC should get one. And we should get a new press box. At football.
They should just call up the Heat, ask them, hey, where's that old scoreboard you had at the Casey Center? We'll grab that. I always thought it looked silly, too, like the crystal ball thingamajig at the end, but I'll take anything over what we have. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get political here, athletics-wise. Maybe now's a good time to bring in our guest. What do you say?
Yeah, please do it. Hurry up, please.
A legend of these parts, Jake Bolden. He's my partner in crime on the CUSA podcast roundtable, getting these Game of the Week previews out.
He's a stud.
He is. He does a whole lot there. And unfortunately, Susan, he's had to take a whole lot of abuse from other podcasts he's talked to, and obviously in the roundtable. But let's bring him on, Jake Bolden, Blue Raider podcast, and let's see what he has to say right about now. Okay, we hope you've been enjoying the Paws Up preview so far. Now, as always, it's time to talk about our opponent this week, the Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders, and who better to bring on than a fellow Jake, none other than Jake Bolden of the Blue Raider podcast. How's it going, Jake? First off, cool name. Second off, just talk a bit about the vibes over there in Middle Tennessee. There's a whole lot we got to talk about, and not a whole lot of it is positive. So just talk a bit about some positives you might have here and there, just to kind of throw it out there, make it known now.
Well, first, appreciate you having me on. Of course, you'll be on our show this week as well, previewing the Panthers. So by all means, if you're a fan of football, head over there and find that episode as well. But the vibes here, not much positive I can really pull for the Murfreesboro fans. I know a lot of skepticism about this game in particular because of Willie Simmons, as I'm sure we'll dive into his ties back to Murfreesboro. A lot of people really wanted Willie Simmons as part of this staff back when they let Stockstill go at the end of the 2023 season. And as far as I understand, he was actually in those conversations. And so not to divulge too deeply in there from the top of the episode, but the positivity right now is at an all-time low. I think at this point, you're just trying to save yourself from extending this losing streak. FIU, as you know, the history doesn't do well for the Panthers in Murfreesboro, so you kind of hope to right that ship. But we've seen 3 fourth-quarter leads get squandered here in Murfreesboro, so that's why I say it's a matter of this team finding new ways to lose as opposed to finding new ways to win, and that's why the positivity is at a low right now.
I'll ask you something crazy then. The season has not gone your way, but say you don't win another game, but the one win you do get is in the 100 miles of hate. Is it a W season then?
I would say personally, I would still say no, although that's a win that I would love to have. I think the way that the season has gone, you'd love to really have that Western Kentucky game on the road, kind of be playing for something, because prior to last week, you're still playing for bowl eligibility. If you were able to sneak one out against Jack State and then you get one against FIU, then you're playing for your bowl eligibility lives against Western Kentucky. We haven't won that series in a very long time. I think it's 6 years to this point. all things considered, I would love if we finished the year at 2-10 and one of those wins was Western Kentucky. I think that would be a big stain on their face. But to answer your question on an honest basis, this season is it's kind of been a failure for someone who thought this would be a bowl season, and now you're not going bowling. It's been a big disappointment.
So let's talk a bit about the man at the helm, Coach Mason. Obviously, I feel like you have to give him grace in his first season to go 3-9 in Middle Tennessee, but now the Blue Raiders are going to be fighting to match that win total potentially from last season, with only one win under their belts, being a nail biter against Nevada. Just on the scale of 1,000 degrees to the sun, how hot is Mason's seat right now as the head coach of Middle Tennessee?
This is a question I've gotten increasingly more as the season has gone on. Prior to this year, as I said, we were all anticipating bowl eligibility. That was something that even Coach Mason had talked about, doubling that win total of 3-9 last year to 6 this year. And that was what my preseason prediction was. And now sitting at 1-7 and really no winnable games in the near future besides the Sam Houston game in 3 weeks. Yeah. But outside of that, it's very disappointing to say the very least about this. But in terms of how hot his seat is, I don't think at any moment did I ever think that he would ever get fired. I thought, well, the only way this guy would ever get fired, losing the opening game to Austin Peay is really what opened the floodgates to this question. But I would have thought there's no way that he gets fired into his second year. You just let go of Stockstill, who you're still having to pay his buyout contract, which was pretty hefty in terms of Conference USA. You still got Mason at what is considered a discount at $1 million a year, but at the end of this year, his buyout is still $3 million. However, at the end of next season, it gets cut into half. So in theory, if you coach him or you let him coach for one more year, you save $1 million on that buyout. So I thought there's no way he's ever going to get fired this year because of the amount of savings that they would have to let him get a third year opportunity. However, when I was saying that, I didn't think he would go 1-11. So I think in a world where he goes 1-11, you have to think that maybe we exercise that. Maybe it's worth risking that extra $1 million, finding an up-and-coming FCS coach to save some money. I think he's done a great job making this job more appealing. We just built a $67 million facility that doesn't go unrecognized. But what he's done to make this job more attractive, the school has invested more money into football, which is something that was always a black eye when Stockstill was here. So I think Murfreesboro and the athletic department has put more money into the program. However, they're not getting the wins back out of it. And that, I think, puts a lot more pressure on Mason and whoever the next head coach may potentially be. But I think Mason is safe from a fiscal standpoint. But if it gets so bad, I think the first going to start with letting some of his assistant coaches go, because he didn't do that last year. Which was a big question mark for a lot of us in the media, why you would go 3-9 and not let somebody go. But as we've seen as headlines for this week, his offensive line coach, Kendall Simmons, long-tenured offensive line coach, Kendall Simmons, did step down this week. So maybe this is the beginning of the end for some of these assistant coaching that needs to make a change going into that third very pivotal year for Coach Mason.
I don't want to harp on too much longer on how bad the season has been for Middle Tennessee, but I'll just ask this. What's been the most frustrating loss this season? Was it the opening loss to Austin Peay, which, as we have found out, is a very solid FCS program, or is it, take your pick, any of the 4 one-score losses to Conference USA opponents up to this point against Kennesaw State, Missouri State, Delaware, Jack State, all winnable games that the Blue Raiders either can't hold leads or just can't get back into it with minutes to go in the game? So what's been the most frustrating loss thus far?
I would just say the last one. It kind of feels that way. And I alluded to earlier, they have found a new way to lose every single one of those games, and they're all in different fashion. But the most important is the last 3 home games they've lost by while holding a lead in the fourth quarter, going all the way back to the Marshall loss where they lost by 2 touchdowns. They gave up 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter to Marshall. Just the defense went to sleep. The offense basically didn't even try to move the football anymore. They abandoned the run game, which is something that they had done so well in that football game. But in Missouri State, a game that you really controlled for the entire second half, and then you got a late field goal, and then you put the game on the shoulders. You were settled for a 50-yard field goal from a field goal kicker who is less than 50% from 50 yards. Again, not ideal. And then even to go back to the Jack State game, again, you led all the way up into the last 5 minutes of that football game, and then you let Cam Cook do what he does and break off a 40-yard run and essentially put the game to bed. And, of course, bad offensive play calling late didn't allow you to get back into that. And then the other 2 one-score losses, Delaware and Kennesaw, you played an awful first half. And as you put it, you don't give yourself the opportunity to come back in the second half because you put yourself so far behind early. So they all have their own frustrations, but every single one that you lose by one possession is just kind of deep, either adding another cut or making that initial cut just deeper and deeper. And man, it's hard. It's hard to really be a fan and watch this team because, like I said, every week it's just a new way to lose.
It's hard to be a fan and watch the team, like you say, but I feel like it's extra frustrating for who could go down as one of the greatest quarterbacks in Middle Tennessee history, dare I say that, Mr. Bolden, in Vadiato, who is a Middle Tennessee lifer who is having statistically definitely one of his worst seasons, but he's still, I would say, has been a reliable passer thus far for Middle Tennessee. Just talk a bit about Vadiato and how at times he has still been a shining light at the end of what looks to be a very dark tunnel for Middle Tennessee, and just maybe his legacy here at Middle Tennessee, because, well, I believe it's his 5th year, and he's going to obviously graduate as a Blue Raider. Yeah,
his first season here, he was actually the 3rd-string quarterback and won Hawaii Bowl MVP, starting only his 2nd game of his career. And so that was Vadiato. I'm much appreciative of him and who he's been to us, not only as fans, but as us as media members. He's always been one of the more approachable personalities in the locker room, and that means a lot. But who Vadiato has actually is, or who Vadiato has become this 5th final year, has really been a sore subject with a lot of Blue Raider fans because he's not taking that extra step that we all thought we would see. Granted, to your point, he is a 2,000-yard passer in every season he started week 1. That's something that obviously that doesn't happen to just anybody. And he will eventually go down as the most accurate quarterback in MTSU history, completing over 65% of his passes. But that's in jeopardy this year. Something that we haven't seen from Vadiato in years past is he's not making the easy passes. I think this year collectively he's really struggled. I don't know if it's his 2nd year under Coach Bodie Reeder. However, this is only the 2nd year that he's had an offensive coordinator for consecutive seasons. So you would think he'd have some familiarity, but he hasn't. The completion percentage, as you said, has gone down this year. We haven't seen him as mobile as we have in years past. Maybe that's because his backfield, his offensive backfield is a little bit more talented, so he doesn't have to rely on his legs as much. His offensive line is a lot better this year as well compared to last year, but he hasn't quite met the mark that we all thought. And even some Blue Raider fans are calling for them to make a change because we're not going to a bowl game this year. So maybe we just see what we have, because I think realistically looking far ahead in the future for Panther fans to care about this, but I don't know that our 2026 quarterback is on campus right now. So I think if things get so bad, you might even see Vadiato, unfortunately, take a seat in his final year.
His first win as a starting quarterback happened to be against a certain blue and gold team as well. I digress. I think one big, regardless of what Vadiato has and has not been able to do, I think a big part of the ineptitude of Middle Tennessee's offense at times has been the run game. They've only had a 100-yard rusher in a game once this season, of course, being Middlebrook, 2nd worst overall in Conference USA behind New Mexico State. Talk a bit about some of the positive weapons that you think that Middle Tennessee will utilize regardless, but as what's going on with that running game, and how have they not been able to sort of get it together as the season has gone by?
It certainly makes you want to pull your hair out when you try to describe this, because you talk about how low the rushing numbers are. However, Jaquil Middlebrooks is still a top 5 rusher in Conference USA. He doesn't have the attempts of the likes of Cam Cooks and Keyjon Owens, who they're going to be facing this Saturday. But if Middlebrook had the ball in his hands more, he'd be able to make bigger plays. I mean, I think his rushing average this year is up there to the likes of Cam Cook and Keyjon Owens. He just doesn't have the total volume. And so the run game itself has actually been one of the better pieces of this offense that has actually allowed them to balance it out. We just abandon the run in certain situations because the game gets away from us. Again, I draw back to Kennesaw State and Delaware, where you put yourself down behind 3 scores in the first half. The game doesn't lend the running game to get you back into it. You've got to put the ball in the air in those situations. So I think in a game where we run the ball effectively, control the clock, I think this run game is reliable, i.e. what just happened against Jacksonville State. Yeah. However, when you give up big chunk plays on the other side of the ball, and then you get stuck into forcing yourself to throw late in the game like you did against Jack State, you take yourself out of it. So in a game where we can control the ball, I think this run game is effective. But to answer your question about other weapons, Najee Cox, at wide
Yeah.
receiver, who's obviously the wide receiver one for us this year. He's a great possession, big, lengthy, former track runner in Fresno State Community College. Love his play a lot. Hunter Tipton, he's been the Holden Willis of this team this year at that kind of flex tight end position where he'll play the slot. Again, another very good possessive guy. And then Cam Lacey, who was my preseason pick as kind of the X factor, someone that you might be under the radar, has really shined these last 3 weeks, having almost 100 yards in those 3 contests. So Vadiato has 3 good wide receiving options at his disposal, and not even including some of the guys that have seen snaps here and there. But those 3 guys in particular have been great. Jaquil Middlebrooks, freshman DJ Taylor in the backfield is another guy who has come on. He got his first career rushing touchdown this last week against Jacksonville State. So I think the offensive pieces are starting to come together, but they just haven't quite played a full 60 minutes to put themselves into a win column.
What has been the most egregious part about Middle Tennessee as far as aspects like penalties, forced, the negative turnover ratio? What has been the most frustrating part of Middle Tennessee? And in your opinion, one of the most unspoken reasons why they haven't been able to close out games as they probably should have?
If you had asked me this 3 weeks ago, I would have told you it's penalties. And again, I draw back to one of those single score losses that they had. We've had 2 special team penalties that have extended drives on 3rd or 4th down that eventually ended up into the opposition scoring and then taking the lead. I wish that there was a way that you could word that a little bit better, but that's exactly what happened. 3 times in total for this year, 3 times that has happened. A penalty has extended a drive for the opposition, and they took a game-winning score at the end of that drive. So that's a big one. As of late, though, it's been the dumb red zone turnovers, and Vadiato has been one of those. We have 2 interceptions in the red zone against Kennesaw State and Delaware that both effectively ended those games, not necessarily at the last drive of the game, but late in the game that, allowed the opposition to milk the clock and take you out of it. So, those have been kind of the 2, I guess, biggest monsters that have reared their ugly heads for the Blue Raiders these last couple of weeks. The thing that, again, I think more importantly, as I just said earlier, was the 60 minutes. They just have to play a full 60 minutes. And it just, if it's a penalty, if it's an interception, it's just, it comes at inopportune times, and it just makes life hard for them.
Without a doubt. I'd like to say there are some positives when going to the defense. And what I mean by that is, well, their last 2 games against Delaware and Jacksonville State, 28 points allowed against the Hens, 21 points allowed against Gamecocks, which isn't too shabby against two of the most high-powered offenses in the conference. So just talk a bit about some of the positives, defensively at least, that you've seen from the Blue Raiders, and maybe some shortcomings as well, which leads to, again, giving up leads late in games.
I think the scoring is always misleading when you talk about MTSU because of, like I said, the interceptions, dumb penalties that extend drives. It kind of puts this defense in really bad situations. The one stat, if you wanted to know what was telling, is look at the total yards. MTSU is a top 4 team in Conference USA in terms of yards allowed. However, they're bottom 4 in the conference in points allowed. And so I think a lot of that is telling, again, by how the game has gone. The offense puts his defense with their back against the wall. The front 7 is what makes this team so special. They do have a second-team All-American in DeMonte Smith at defensive tackle. Reggie Johnson is another guy at the end who has wreaked a lot of havoc. They do run a 3-4, so you'll have some of these down linemen / linebackers like Muaz Bayard, Parker Hughes, Alex Mitchell's a transfer this year. That linebacker group has been phenomenal for this rush defense. And like I said, you hold the nation's leading rusher to just over 100 yards, and he got that 100th yard on a 42-yard carry. So prior to that fourth quarter carry, you held the nation's leading rusher to under 70 yards. I think that's something that, unfortunately, because you lose that game, doesn't get recognized. But the defensive front is great. Now, to answer the back half of your question, this secondary is atrocious. And that a lot of that has to do with the fact that they've had so many injuries in the defensive backfield. They're down to their 3rd and 4th cornerbacks. They're also down to their 2nd and 3rd at safety position. And at this point, they're even starting freshmen at nickelback just to try to see what they have out there. So where this team, and I'm particularly FIU, where this team does scare me, is that's kind of an area where I think that they can really expose this defense. I don't know the status. Last I heard from Coach Simmons is Jenkins is a go. And so if that's the case, I think that that's a part that I think Simmons is going to pick apart this entire Saturday is this secondary that is considerably hampered with injury.
Well, I'll tell you, Jake, it's quite rare that FIU is favored in a game on the road. Nonetheless, just being favored against a Conference USA opponent. So I have to ask this question in the context of FIU is going to be the team that will likely win, at least according to Las Vegas. What does FIU need to avoid, and what does Middle Tennessee need to capitalize on? Like, what are some of the actual favorable matchups, in your opinion, that the Blue Raiders should really hone in on against FIU if they want to keep up with the Panthers and actually get a win for the fans at Floyd?
When I look at this matchup, the thing that scares me is which FIU team is going to show up. Is it the one that went to Bowling Green and won by 19, or is it the team that's kind of laid a goose egg in their last 2 weeks and hasn't performed to that 19-point win they had in Bowling Green? So I think collectively, when you look at this from both sides, I'm sure Coach Simmons and Coach Mason, both of their pep talks to their team is, if we just play our game, we're going to win. And I think from MTSU's perspective, that's how you feel. If they can run the football effectively, if they can still sprinkle in a passing game that's been effective, but at times has really hampered them, but if they can make smart passes from Body Auto, extend drives, get more methodical, I think MTSU is in a situation where they are in a possession game and they win that possession games. But again, penalties and turnovers take you out of that possession game. If you're FIU, I think if you let Kewan Jenkins do what he does and use his legs and get outside the tackles, because again, the strength of this defense is in the box. But Jenkins, when he gets outside the box, fireworks happen. So I think if Jenkins is healthy, plays his game, can play an entire 60 minutes, I think FIU is equally as dangerous. To be fair, I will spoil my picks from our roundtable this week. I have FIU winning this game. It just seems to shape up that way. Until MTSU can prove to me they can win, even at home, I don't know that I can say that they're going to do it.
Nashville hot chicken, overrated, underrated? Must you try it if you're in the area?
I think it's underrated, but I will say that anyone that comes to Nashville, that's always the go-to is the hot chicken. I think if you're in town, Prince's Hot Chicken, that's where everyone goes for the local stuff. There's Hattie B's up in Nashville. Of course, if you're coming to the game in Murfreesboro, that's a little bit of a drive for you. Nashville's not necessarily as close because of interstate traffic, but hot chicken is the go-to. But if you're in Murfreesboro, I always recommend Toots. They have the best wings in town. Again, a local joint you're not going to get anywhere else, and it's always a good rubbing in the nose of Bowling Green fans, because they used to have a Toots and they don't anymore. So the best place to go is Toots here in Murfreesboro.
I have a certain co-host who might find that information to be pretty helpful. Jake, again, thank you so much for spending some time. If you could let the FIU faithful know where to follow you, as well as the Blue Raider pod, to see how your pod is getting ready for this game. Like you mentioned, I'll be on your preview as well. So if you let them know where to follow you.
Absolutely. You can follow me personally at Jake Bolden MP. That's my individual, my personal Twitter account. But then, of course, my podcast is Blue Raider Pod. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and then, of course, on YouTube at Blue Raider Pod, where you'll get our preview this week. And then we'll actually have a live press conference after the game on Saturday. So if you want to hear Coach Mason and a breakdown show from us at the Blue Raider Pod, tune on in. I appreciate it. And Jake, I appreciate you and Kevin for the coverage you guys are giving on your side this week.
Absolutely. From one Jake to another. Thanks, Jake. So let's continue on here in the Paws Up preview as Kevin and I go over what happened last week in CUSA, make some predictions for week 11, and game picks. And that was Jake Bolden of the Blue Raider podcast. What a legend, I got to say. By the way, I'll be on his show. I think
shout out to him. Chose the blue and gold.
Friday noon, so like just check tomorrow morning, and hopefully you'll find me on his show to give some love to the Panthers. So alrighty then, it is time to look around Conference USA, and Kevin, this is it for weekday CUSA. It's like,
thank God.
When that ends, then you get Maction starting. I liked how they scheduled that. Weekday CUSA is over, Maction begins. So it continues like 40-something days of a football game every day. So, but here's what happened. Starting off back in Tuesday, Kennesaw State didn't exactly blow out UTEP, but still gets pretty comfortable win as Scotty Walden U continues to lose games.
Yeah, unfortunate, but they had a lead and they just blew it.
They did. This is what Jake Bolden was talking about. This game really should have Middle Tennessee should have won this game. They performed lights out
I
against.
wish
Cam
they did.
Cook.
I wish they did win that game. To be honest, it wouldn't feel too much pressure for this upcoming one.
But they lost anyways. Jack State, the rich get richer.
Yeah.
Missouri State beats FIU. Cool.
Yeah, no, we could skip that one. Yeah. We could skip that
one. The Phil Longo memes are kind of crazy on social media, Kevin. I gotta tell you.
Well, if he wears something that isn't goddamn black all the time, not trying to be racist, but like, come on, change it up a little bit. Wear some orange.
There you go.
Wear some gray. Wear some white.
They have gray in their color scheme there. 55 points though by La Tech. This is a team that doesn't score a whole lot of points. So
yeah, that is impressive. And you know what team doesn't score a whole lot? The one that we're about to talk about right now.
Successful hate watch.
Woo!
Yeah, baby. 59
yes,
points.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Well, we talked about it last week. Delaware was due for a game to get humbled, and this was it. So
yeah, no,
they still scored 30 points in the process, by the way. But I mean,
I'm glad
Liberty almost doubled up and gave it to the next person. So Western Kentucky.
You throw your jokes out here every once in a while that are pretty great.
I have no jokes for this next game except David Yost University dropped 16 points.
Yeah,
listen, it's okay. Beating Western Kentucky isn't for everybody, you know. It is what it is.
One CUSA game this year.
Yeah. All right, so how are we doing standings wise? We both picked the same teams. We both went 5-1. Our only loss was picking FIU over Missouri State. Unfortunately,
not good. So, not good.
Total records. I'm at 52-18. Kevin, you're at 48-22. It's still only a 4-game difference. So leave that as you will as we look towards Week 11 in Conference USA. And yep, all 12 teams, Conference USA teams, are playing, including my favorite member of Conference USA, Oregon State.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Western Kentucky's on bye this week. So
I didn't even realize that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
thank God.
They're on Saturday though, baby. Woo! All right. This could be good. Missouri State at Liberty. If the Flames don't watch out here, they could get stream sniped here by the Bears. It ain't gonna happen though. I'm taking the Flames.
I think we always say this, but every team FIU loses to becomes a hate watch.
Mm-hmm.
Flames are gonna beat the Bears.
Yeah. I don't really want to hate Missouri State though. They got Shamari.
They were very nice to us. This has been the team that's been the nicest to us.
I know. Well, actually, you saw that final score graphic they dropped. That was some hateful ish. I gotta say.
It was, but nothing will ever beat the Delaware that they pulled. And when we go there next year and we whoop them, I can't wait.
Because we have a better roster now. We'll have one then for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Louisiana Tech takes on Delaware, 3:00. Ooh, this is the clash of the
Give me the Bulldogs.
I'm sorry, what?
Hell yeah, give me the Bulldogs.
You're taking the Bull? I know they got a great defense, but here's the problem.
Exactly. Defense wins championships.
That is true, but here's the issue, Kevin. Delaware just got whooped. They're not
exactly.
gonna
and Louisiana Tech just came off scoring 55 points.
Well, it was against
Bulldogs.
Walden.
Give me the Bulldogs. Give me the Bulldogs. You take who? Delaware?
Not so fast, my friend. Give me the Blue Hens of Delaware and a bounce back win.
Okay.
Bounce back win.
Okay, Lee Corzo, move on.
Hell yeah. I don't have headgear like him though.
We should make the headgear pick.
I had this helmet. I could
ask for a Rory helmet.
Those things aren't cheap, you know. I don't know how many of them they have just lying around. That is a good idea though.
They do have a couple of them.
That is a great. We might have something cooking for the Liberty game, so might just have to throw that. Write that down. Throw it.
Yeah, we'll get the Flames helmet too.
Mm.
What even is their mascot? Do they have a mascot?
Yeah, it's an eagle.
Yeah, but is it like a legit mascot?
No. Yeah, they do. They have one.
Like the person.
Yes, they do. They have one, Kevin. I'll show you. I'll show you it after the recording. Jack State, Cam Cook U takes on Scotty Walden U, and this would be so thick for UTEP to win. Oh God, you're not picking them, are you?
Give me Jack State.
We haven't even played him yet, and this feels like a hate watch.
Yeah, it does.
But damn it, I'm taking Jack State too, though. Oh,
I think that ends our bowl eligibility.
yeah. Kennesaw State takes on Yost University at 4:00. You're telling me the kids at Las Cruces are going to go to a 1:00 game in New Mexico State? Hell no! Give me Kennesaw.
Hootie hoo.
Hootie hoo, as they say. And then last but not least, I mean, if Oregon State hadn't won that game that they did, this would have been absolute cinema.
They've won 2 games. They've won 2 games.
Yeah, they beat Washington State.
They beat Lafayette.
Yeah, and then they're in sole possession of first place in the Pac-12. I mean, I know both teams suck, but I just think Oregon State sucks a little less.
Yeah, give me Oregon State. Sorry, I was very close to choosing Sam Houston, but give me the Beavs.
That's now Phil Longo. I guess I got to refer to them as, just because of all the funny memes I've seen. Yeah. Like the Centel was going crazy. Like, Phil Longo's fired. No, he isn't. But he drops that. You think it happened?
Should be. Yeah. If he goes 0-12.
That is true. So, all righty. One more question to ask here, and I think it's a pretty big one, Kevin. Who will win? Important question asked here before we decide. We have to let EA Sports cook here. Hopefully the actual game will be a little less stressful than this. Take a look.
It came down to the final quarter, clutch plays, guys delivered, and they get the close win.
I'm that one fan in the background. There was a EA Keywan Jenkins jump scare at the end there too. His weird looking model in the game. But okay, nice win for them there in Floyd Stadium. Let's see if Kevin thinks the same way. Who is winning this game between the Panthers and the Blue Raiders? Will they do what they've done a lot this season and break another long losing streak?
Yes, they will. They will.
Yes!
The Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders by final score of 35-14.
Okay, this is cheating because I was just on his show, but he has an X Factor player. So you know what? I'll ask that to you too. Who's going to be the X Factor in this game?
Oof. I think Josiah McGrew has a big game. He struggled the last 2 games, so he'll come back and have a nice little pick, and he'll do some stuff.
All right, I like that pick. I'm not taking FIU. Is what a loser would say, because I absolutely am. The Panthers, I said it. They know how to have a bounce back win this season. They did it in Florida Atlantic and Western Kentucky on the road too. If there are only 2 road wins in Conference USA or the 100 Miles of Hate Club, then so be it. But I am going to will it to existence. I almost don't want to say who my X Factor is, but because you'll find out tomorrow morning. Okay, it's Mr. Clark. All right, he needs to have a big game, like he has done a few times on the road, again in these hostile environments, and what should totally be a packed Floyd Stadium. Yeah, give me FIU. Ooh, I like that 35-point pick. I don't want to pick it though.
I actually really like the EA pick, but they don't want to make it.
I did it too. I just don't want to be that. 41 to 24. 41 to 24. That sounds good. That sounds good to me. I like that. So, alrighty, Kevin, who's on the radio call?
Corey Brooks does the play-by-play, and it'll be another week of Nick Garrido as the analyst.
It's going to be cold there too. Are you ready for that?
Yeah, I don't think I'll be packing any shorts for this one.
I got you.
Packed shorts for Nashville last time. Not going to do it this time, I think. Maybe I'll pack one pair.
Like a safe safe pairing. Okay. I got you.
Yeah, depends.
I just realized this game's sponsored by Geico, which is funny. I think I usually a sponsor for us, so maybe this is brand new-ish. At least that's what it says on the Athletics website. Still, 3:00. Does it feel weird, Kevin? It's not a night game.
I should prefer it. Get back home early.
Damn. So so you'll be back in Miami before the day's even done.
No. Maybe just after midnight. It says we board the plane at 9:30.
That's fair. That's fair. We've had later games at home than 12. You know, we back home at like 3 a.m. Alrighty then. ESPN Plus is where you can actually watch it. I guess they'll have the Murfreesboro broadcast team. There's not a whole lot of broadcast teams in Conference USA. I love, by the way. Now I'm sounding like a hater, but Goldstein kind of craps on the rest of the CUSA. ESPN broadcast
and Corey Brooks
and Corey, but Steve Goldstein, bro. Like, oh, come on, man. Oh, I guess now I should mention, by the way, the third watch party. You better be tuning in, and I know not everybody has ESPN Plus, so maybe then, welcome to the show, and we will have another watch party. It should be fun. And we'll get some more guests on. I don't know how I'm going to beat getting CUSA Centel on like I did last time for Missouri State.
I still have to rewatch that.
Yeah. I don't know how I'm going to top that. We'll have to see. I might have to call in the big guns. So ask for some favors here and there. Any final thoughts before we wrap up here, Kevin?
Just excited for this one. Would be the first time since 2018 FIU's 2 road wins in CUSA play. So would be nice.
Putting the mid in Middle Tennessee. That's my caption for if they win. I'm just going to spoil it right now. It's not creative. I'm sorry. I'm basically reusing if we beat Delaware. I was going to putting the mid in Mid-Atlantic because that was a whole fiasco back in the day. I guess you had to be there.
Yeah, because they didn't know where Delaware was.
It's close to Philly, if I'm not mistaken.
All right. Yes, it is. Good job.
So go watch some football. Join the watch party if you want to have some fun. Maybe have some laughs at my expense. And until then, have a great rest of the night. And Paws!